Hey survivors, and welcome back to the Sons of the Forest channel, and welcome to this Q&A I had the opportunity to do with Endnight 10. They will answer most of your most requested questions, like the console release, Mutants behavior, trailer for release, and more. So, enough of this intro, let's get into the video. We got a lot of info about the new season changing mechanic. Will it change and affect Cannibals and Mutants behavior? Will season length differ throughout the game? Their answer: yes, the Cannibals will be less likely to venture far out when cold, and so lots of their interactions change, some subtly and others in big ways. Visually, they also craft and wear their own warm suits during winter to survive the cold. This is pretty interesting. We can now see Cannibals crafting their own warm suits and sew their clothing. They won't always wear the same suits, but they will change it throughout the seasons. Also, as they will visually craft their suits, we can assume they'll be visually building weapons and structures, maybe a village too. How did it improve the cave system in Sons of the Forest compared to the Forest? Mutants are a lot more interesting in caves in this new game. Instead of standing in a single spot, they roam through the caves, some making nests, others going to get water when thirsty, so you never really know where they are or what to expect. Such a good improvement since the Forest. In the first game, mutants spawned and were locked in a single spot of the caves, but in Sons of the Forest the new AI will allow them to be free to roam around and take care of themselves. I'm wondering if nest means baby mutants, maybe the same we saw in the third trailer. All this will make the game scarier than ever. How have the wildlife and hunting mechanics been expanded for Sons of the Forest? Hunting is similar to the Forest. You can craft spears or later find ranged weapons to kill most animals, or build traps to catch them. I hoped for a major improvement for the hunting mechanic, but the addition of new traps to catch all types of animals is really cool. Have you improved the swimming mechanic and the underwater world? We have tried a lot with swimming, including having whales actually push the player, but found it mostly frustrating in the gameplay. We ended up minimizing its effect so much we're not sure if the player will notice it. That is hilarious. I agree with them that mechanic will be too much to go against. I guess the underwater world has not been expanded, but I'm glad they tried a lot to renew the swimming mechanic. Is it possible now that the player is afflicted with more diseases? In the Forest, the player gets sick just when covered in blood. In addition to the cold, for example, will also the heat affect players' experience and life stats? The way cold, as well as food, affect the player has been changed a lot from how it worked in the first title. I'm very curious to know more about it, but it seems like just the cold and food will affect the player. Maybe the cold could give us fatigue and start to cough, so to not be as silent as we would. I'm scared to know the effect of food. I hope it won't force me to go to the toilet. How has the player's HUD been improved? As your upcoming game looks so realistic, will the HUD be less visible, like using smartwatches to see the life stats, and let us live a real life-like journey? The HUD has changed since the Forest, however, it isn't on a smartwatch or anything like that. You do have a handheld GPS this time, which works similar to its real-world counterpart. As a lover of realistic games, I like the idea of an handheld GPS, and I'm excited to see the new HUD. The only other very realistic game that came out recently and had a good HUD was Metro Exodus, released in 2019. That featured a retractable HUD, so as to be completely immersed in the gameplay. Will most of the story take place in the caves like in the Forest, or will it be more balanced between above and below ground exploration? There are more above ground story spots this time, but underground has also expanded and isn't just caves. As the map will be 4 times bigger than the Forest, I'm happy we won't find just caves. Maybe there will be multiple labs and bunkers where to rest and explore the secrets of the Sahara Company. We can assume now that the bunker we saw in the second trailer, the final location of the third one, and the lab shown in the latest sneak peek are different places below the map. I love how they improved the exploration and added a lot of interesting spots instead of using just caves. You revealed the names of the first 3 mutants we saw: Virginia, Fingers, and Twins. What do you call the last 2 revealed in the third trailer? In order sin, John 2.0 and Slug. That was pretty unexpected. John 2.0 is the second variant of the mutant John, or worm, seen in the forest, and Sluggy is the so-called blob. Guess Sluggy will be happy to be finally free and scared the shit out of me after I left him in the lab under the forest peninsula. Is there anything in the last trailer the community missed? Nothing major. Are the fishing and farming mechanics coming back in Sons of the Forest? In the second trailer we saw wet berries. Are you going to add more stuff to cultivate? There are a bunch of different berries, mushrooms and edibles to collect and to plant. We can assume it didn't get so improved since the forest. I had different expectations, but I'm still going to enjoy it. Actually, I'm not a fan of farming. Have you improved the mountain environment? Are the mountains we saw in the trailers climbable? Yes, most of the mountain seen in the trailers is traversable. That is one of your most requested questions, and now they finally answered you. The mountain will be traversable, differently from the forest, so we can expect to build there. Such a good improvement compared to the forest. Will melee weapons rest and have dull blades that you need to sharpen and guns jam? No, we feel they will make the combat too frustrating. Quite disappointed by this. I think that will make the game more realistic and challenging. I saw a video game coming out soon, The Relic Survival, developed by a single person who made it, and I found it extremely beautiful and interesting. This question has been one of the most requested by the fans, as the last trailer shows a brutal and tame impact effect on cannibals, arms and head cut off the body. Will there be executions on them like in Doom? There are no canned executions, but as the player, you're free to chop off whatever body part you like, assuming you have a sharp enough weapon. The dismemberment mechanic of the forest will come back in its sequel. At this point we can assume also effigies will be in the game. I think the executions are a missed opportunity, but they need time to be done and a very professional work behind them. I hope they will develop them in a possible The Forest 3. What is Newnight? Newnight is our new publishing company. I wanted to know a little bit more about that, but that was the answer. Even though the game is coming on PC, would you like to deliver Sons of the Forest on consoles? We'd love to release on console again, but we're currently focused on the PC release and making that the best game it can be. Once for all, the question has been answered. They're not planned on console release, nor are they working on it, as they're focused on the PC version. As they delayed the game to February 23rd, the PC version is still under development and needs their attention to be perfect. At this point, a release on consoles for the game after the launch is unlikely in a few months after the PC release. It will take at least 6 months, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's gonna take 1 year or more. Can you reveal the computer specs, or are you going to release them soon? Their answer: the system specs will be released on the Steam store page. Have you already decided the price for Sons of the Forest? $30. Yeah, what a nice timing. I got the answer the same day they revealed the price and the release date for the game. Oh, thank you. Are you planning to release the next trailer for Sons of the Forest in the next few weeks? Will it be mainly focused on multiplayer gameplay, as you said in the previous interview? Their answer: we would like to do a multiplayer focused trailer next, however, are not giving any dates for when it will be ready. This really hurt me, as we were expecting a trailer to show up this month, and now we'll have to wait at least 3 months. I wouldn't be surprised to get a trailer like the previous ones between November and December. Is October still the current release date for Sons of the Forest? More precisely, can you confirm or deny the release date on Steam database was set on 21st October? Their answer: Sons of the Forest will release February 23rd, 2023. Yeah, I guess so. Guys, these are all the questions that we have done, and these are the answers they gave me. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and consider subscribing. Follow me on all the social media, especially on our Reddit community and Discord server, on Instagram and Facebook. Be safe, and always remember to survive the forest.